All right, the IDF clear out Hamas from Gaza. There's been some disturbing reports out of Gaza that the Israelis opened fire at one of the aid distribution sites. I doubt they were intentionally targeting civilians because there wouldn't be a point. And also, they would have been tried. The soldiers would have gotten in trouble. Evidently, they were shooting from tanks. I'd like to see an investigation. I'd like to know the fog of war, why this happened. I don't think this is the best way they should have done it. They should have put everybody in the safe zone, not forced them to go in and out of it. And they could have handled it differently. But but I don't know. I don't know enough about this. But let's find out what happened with the IDF. And because dresses like civilians, and then they become embedded in the group, and then they end up moving with the group. And so when the Israelis identify, they've got face recognition, voice recognition, and something may have happened. And then unfortunately they're embedded with the civilian. It's a disastrous way it's a horrible way to fight. IDF clearing out Hamas from Gaza. Hierophant. Opposition. The Magician. Ace of Swords. Yes. I think that it's going to be what we had predicted with the computers again. Where is that? What was the thing we had to do last time? Yeah, we did the data. Let me show you the one that I sent to Elon Musk and to the IDF on that. Okay, am I doing this right? Yes, I am. Still figuring this out, people. Give me a chance. All right, so this was dated around December 13th, 2023. To Elon and to the IDF. Greetings, Mr. Musk and Mr. Gantz. I spent all day looking at the data, and I found that the least amount of lives lost would be a ceasefire, an agreed exit to another country, implement Oasis. Maybe people smarter than me have different data. Thank you, Dr. Whimsy Anderson. So we can see also that Elon and the IDF got a copy of the printout from the Colossus computer. While the idea of getting Hamas to leave, the implementing Oasis is crucial to recognize. Anyway, so that was the data from December 2023. You guys want to talk about it? Why did the computer say that? Why did the computer say that? Because if you have a fight there and you have Hamas fighting, then what's it going to do? It's going to attract more Hamas fighters. More Hamas fighters are going to try and get in, and then it never ends. It never ends. It never ends. But if you lure them somewhere, oh, I'm going to go over there. They've got sticker bars and, right? So the idea is to lure them somewhere else, and then Hamas goes to that other place and they take their chaos somewhere else. And otherwise, if you just keep killing, it just goes on and on. And I will avenge my father. I will avenge my kitty. Like it goes on and on. I will avenge my, and it just keeps going and going. Whereas if you stop the chaos, you pay people to leave, you lure them to somewhere else. We're going to go fight over there. Yes, you go have a happy life in Algeria. So that's why the focus, that's why the computer says that. And so otherwise, you're just going to have this repetitive fighting, probably within a year. You can see pulled double aces, the opposition, ace of cups. Likely you'll get Qatar or some other country to come in and offer to take them, with an Ace of Cups moving into, that's a peace offering. And then the power struggle, the Magician, and then Ace of Swords. So yeah, Israel is using the tanks as shields, but if civilians were killed when, if they were targeting Hamas and Hamas is embedded with a bunch of kids, that's when the civilians have the highest, the whole point was so that Hamas wouldn't steal the food. But it's certainly, now we're having problems with Hamas embedding and people getting killed that way. Yeah, I think host countries are going to take them, just because you've got that Ace of Cups offering coming in, and the war. Yeah, they leave here. You can see it here. See what I mean? They'll go to a host country, and that means we're not going to kill them. We're going to say, basically, not every Hamas fighter even engaged in October 7th. Some Hamas fighters were just young kids that were digging trenches because Hamas was the main employer in Gaza. And so Israel's feeling about it, when you go into this energy, is those kids that surrendered that are now in Israeli custody, our response is, you were a soldier. You were a soldier. And maybe one day you will come back to the new Gaza. Once we have peace between Israel and Gaza, once we have that beautiful rebuild that we're working so hard to create, maybe in 20 years you'll come back with your family, visit. We pray for this, that peace. But right now, you need to go. Go to Algeria, take the deal, go to Qatar. Build your life. We're not going to come looking for you. We're not going to find every 15-year-old that got swept up into this. We don't have the time, the energy. It's just not a good use of Israel to go hunt down every single kid. The main players, yes. The main heads of Hamas, yes, they got targeted. But the average kid that was just swept up in it, no. There's this idea of, go, take care of yourself. The war is over. It was a war. This is the same deal we had with Japan. No, we're not going to kill you. No, we don't want you to commit suicide. You were a soldier. And we understand you were fighting for your country. I was fighting for my country, my family. We get it. We get it. We do get it. But you can't stay. Not in the new Gaza. This is the time of peace. But in 20 years, maybe then. So I like that, because it is balanced, it is sane, and it doesn't keep perpetuating this. Perpetuating. And the final outcome does not show death, that they are simply hosted. And then they go, particularly if you have an Ace of Cups in the opposition, which is an offer of peace. It is the Dove of Peace. You ever seen that one, the peace card? So peace is offered. I think Qatar, Algeria, and other countries will take them in. Now, the hardened criminals that participated with October 7th, they are already dead, or they should not be released. No, because they're psychopaths. And but the majority that didn't participate, that were just caught up into it. No, there's no upside of Israel wasting its time chasing after those people. Just go to Turkey, go somewhere and build it. Love your family, take care of yourself. And in time, when this cools, it'll be a new day, it'll be a new dawn, and we'll be in a different place. Just like in Japan. Does that help with that? They no longer have support from Qatar. If Qatar is making a deal with the Trump administration and sending him things, yes, it pisses people off about the new plane, but it's also a new direction they could be going in, where we're no longer going to be funding Hamas, but we will try and pay to get them hosted somewhere else. And I think that that's ultimately the direction. Yeah. The world is heading towards peace. Yeah, I like seeing that in the opposition, and I like the final outcome that they just go, right? And that is what the data showed. That is just, I like looking at data very much. And the reason I like to do this is because I am so damn emotional that I think I'm like the perfect person to become a scientist, because I get very emotional. I don't want any more children to die in Gaza. I go crazy when I see suffering. I don't want any more people to be hostages. What happened to the hostages? I don't want October 7th. I don't want human suffering. So that's definitely your motive when you do this type of research. But I like supercomputers because it's a nice melding of our humanity and our compassion with just logic. Because you could be overly emotional, kill them all, kill every single one of them. And then it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Then they come to kill you, and it goes, and it never ends. It never ends. Right? Such a scenario were to occur, and the Oasis Project could contribute to fostering integration, economic opportunities, culture, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so data. That's what I always say to people, like, show me the data, show me the data. If nothing else, the data grounds us. It grounds us, and it puts our emotionalism, I think, in check to some extent, which sometimes we have to do that.